Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 162 for July 15th through the 21st. After a decade-long hiatus, Greece held its Sevens championships for the first time with the Iraklis Blues crowned as champions. In the second round of the U20s Transatlantic Quad Series, Wales and Canada recorded wins. The WXV Fixtures have been released with 27 matches taking place from September 27th to October 12th in Vancouver, South Africa and Dubai. Black Ferns co-captain Kennedy Simon has extended her contract with New Zealand Rugby through 2028, and we round up all the global premier and club competitions worldwide. Get ready for the latest in women's rugby. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. Let's start with some Sevens news. For the first time in 10 years, Greece held their annual Sevens championships, and the Iraklis Blues were dominant. You can see all of those winnings down there, and they are the champions. The Rugby Africa Sevens Series will take place in Tunisia on October 26th and 27th and November 2nd and 3rd, featuring 12 teams with the top 2 qualifying for the 2025 HSBC Challenger Sevens Series. In the second round of the Under-20s Transatlantic Quad Series, Canada remains undefeated. They beat England 36-33, while Wales took out the United States 38-31. There's one more round of matches. Can Canada remain undefeated? The WXV fixtures have been released. There's going to be 27 matches coming up at the end of September. It'll go through October 12th. WXV 1 will take place in Vancouver. You can see the pools there. There is a cross-conference kind of matchup here, and Scrum Queen goes into that a bit more detail, but the real idea is that some of these teams do play each other often. So Six Nations teams is the obvious example here. But the other teams may not play each other that often, so our Pacific 4 teams don't necessarily need to play each other as much. In this case, you can avoid it a little bit in WXV 1. But this is a huge tournament, and we're essentially going to see who are going to be the champions of the world. England, of course, defending WXV 1 champions. WXV 2, Pool A, Australia, Italy, Japan. Pool B, Scotland, Wales, South Africa. This one's quite compelling. You know, the Wallaroos losing to the United States in the Pacific 4 Series dropped them into this, and then Italy, their performance in the Six Nations. But these teams don't play each other that often in the World Cup. They will, of course, but not in a non-World Cup year. So this could be a very interesting pool. WXV 3, though, is the one really to watch. This one, the last two spots for the 2025 Rugby World Cup are up for grabs. And of course, Spain, Fiji, Hong Kong, Netherlands, Samoa, and then surprise Madagascar out of Africa. So this one, these teams do not play each other very often. Only in the World Cup would they see each other. Sometimes Fiji and Samoa obviously will play each other from the Oceania. But these are going to be really interesting matchups. Spain was really hoping to be in WXV 2. We expect them to do well here. And Netherlands makes their big return to 15s with this tournament. Huge news out of New Zealand. Black Ferns co-captain Kennedy Simon has extended her contract with New Zealand Rugby through 2028. It's the longest commitment ever signed by a women's 15s player in New Zealand since the introduction of professional contracts in 2018. So good to see Kennedy continuing on. Of course, we've got WXV 2025 Rugby World Cup, and this gets her all the way through to the Olympics. Of course, she's a 15s player, but it is interesting, and then would maybe a potential renewal be in the books for the next Rugby World Cup. Now on to our Premier and Club news. The Bull Daisies secured the top spot and semifinal hosting rights in South Africa's Premier Division, while the battle for the final semifinal spot remains fierce with DHL Western, Province, Sandland, Belmont Dames, Sharks, and Border Ladies all still in contention. We need to stay on South Africa's Premier Division for just a moment as we must honor Yaki Cilliers of the Bull Daisies. She has broken the season points record with 137 points, surpassing the previous record of 136 held by Libby Yancey van Rensburg, with at least 3 matches still to go in the competition. In round 10 of the WPL, the All Blues, Beantown, and New York all recorded wins, with New York moving above the Colorado Grey Wolves into second place, while Beantown's win over Life West improved their win column, but isn't enough to move them up yet. The Allianz PWR announced a new Up Series for 2024, featuring 3 weekends of regional pool matches for all 9 Premiership teams as a warm-up before the league officially starts on October 5th. That does it for us this week. Of course, there's always more news on our site at yscrugby.com, and you can never miss an episode of Women's Rugby Rundown by subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, or Patreon, and of course, all of our social media channels.